And all this means that your favorite lager could soon get more expensive. That's the opinion shared by many in the beer industry over the U.S. tariffs. Those aluminum tariffs already in place, they'll increase the price of beer cans. Also under threat is malted barley, beer's star ingredient. A lot of that grain flows back and forth between the U.S. and Canada, and U.S. malted barley gets exported to Mexico. Overall, the North American beer industry is worth over $160 billion, all of which sees trouble brewing. For more about the impact of tariffs on the beer industry, I'm joined by Justin Kendall, who is editor of the industry trade publication Brewbound. Justin, welcome to the show. Great having you. How will these tariffs impact the beer industry, especially the smaller and more independent breweries we especially like?
The short answer is they're going to hurt small American businesses, which are these craft breweries. There are 9,500 craft breweries in the United States. 2/3 of those make fewer than 1,000 barrels. So we're talking about really, really small businesses. And for those who package beer, selling into distribution, the margins are razor thin. So this is definitely going to impact them, and it's going to impact their consumers.
I see. And we look at aluminum, and these cans are a major cost for these breweries. How much of a price increase do you expect from cans?
It all depends on the brewer and where they're sourcing these from. Since they're across the board tariffs, there's not a lot of relief out there. I mean, we could be talking, 75 cents, $1 more. That's what they could be facing per case. So definitely jacking it up, and they could face hundreds or thousands of dollars of extra costs each year.
And Justin, these breweries that we're talking about, these smaller, smaller operations, have they really taken steps to prepare for these tariffs? Have you seen movements along these lines?
There's really not much they can do ahead of time. They can talk to their supplier partners, but a lot of them don't have a lot of time to act in such a volatile market. When you have, this story has been evolving over days and months, and you really can't plan for something when 1 hour, we're talking about 50% tariffs on Canadian aluminum, and the next, they've rescinded those.
Could we possibly see breweries considering alternative packaging or other strategies to offset these costs?
Unfortunately, I don't think that they can make those moves as swiftly. A lot of these companies are set up for canning. That's where the consumer demand is, and they really can't just adjust on the fly. If they had bottling lines before, they've been decommissioned especially among the smaller brewers. So we're talking about long lead times to make those adjustments. And even if they were to make those adjustments, this could change on a dime.
I see. So the small brewers have a difficulty planning. The bigger brewers, how can they have more wiggle room, possible strategies? How do you see that?
I definitely think that they can weather this a little bit more because it's a scale business. So they're set up to work at larger volumes than these smaller craft brewers. They can maybe eat some of this. I've heard earnings calls from Boston Beer and Molson Coors where they really don't see or expect that they're going to have the impact that these might. They don't expect the same impact that I would say as the smaller producers.
And Justin, what are big trade groups representing a lot of businesses, the wider view of what's going on? What do they say about the long-term impact of these tariffs? What's their message to the Trump administration?
That it's going to hurt these small businesses. I mean, we're talking about an industry that is already struggling. We've seen closures increase among craft breweries. We've seen volume declines. We've seen shelf space competition has increased. These are businesses that are already facing a lot of headwinds, and this is one that puts a lot of pressure on them and cuts into some margin that they don't have room for. And the consumer really isn't at a place where they want to pay more for craft beer.
I see. So what you're telling me, if I'm understanding you correctly, is that there's little tolerance for price changes on beer. What could happen? What can the consumer do? Do you expect the consumer to move on to other drinks? How will this evolve market-wise?
It's already a competitive market. So, I mean, you could see a consumer shift to or trade down to more affordable beer. But, I mean, it's always been sort of the mantra of craft beer that it's an affordable luxury. We're chipping away at that. Every little bit of this chips away at that.
I see. Justin Kendall, thank you. Great having you.
Thanks for your time.